The Quest 3 isn't selling well, but the Quest 2, on the other hand, it's selling extremely well. Because accordingly, in November of last year, within 30 days, Meta sold 160,000 Quest 2 units. Meanwhile, the Quest 3 only sold about 69,000. And due to this, I decided to go back and check out the Quest 2 from owning my Quest 3 and using this as my daily VR driver for the past 2 weeks, and the experience has been fairly positive. Especially when you take into consideration all the new software apps that get added on the Quest 3 are also available on the Quest 2. The Steam Valve Index, that app is on the Quest 2. All the new fun VR games that are being added on the Quest 3 are also available on the Quest 2. Assassin's Creed, Power Washing Simulator, as well as Lawn Mowing Simulator easily makes the Quest 2 into the best value VR headset available in the market. And especially when you take in consideration where the price tag used to be $300 and it was dropped down to $250 for the holidays, now became the official permit price tag for the Quest 2. And then if you look on Amazon refurbished site, you can even find it even cheaper as well for around $219. Now, even though this also supports AR/mixed reality, more games are having this mixed reality experience, and it works really well even on the Quest 2. Although it does uses the old-fashioned black and white pass-through mode, it still has a lot of amazing capability, especially when you combo it with an AR illuminator, as this VR headset's the only VR headset that I could think of that's fully wireless that can be technically used as night vision goggles. The controllers are using the old-fashioned method, which still work extremely well, and I personally prefer these as they make a nice placement to set the controllers down on the table. But when it comes to tracking, these controllers are very advanced as it has excellent tracking capabilities and then doesn't feature any quality control issues like the Quest 3 has. In case you were unaware, apparently if you use the incorrect, a more powerful power adapter, you could possibly risk melting your VR headset, as shown in this picture. And then, Meta hasn't really been on the best track record either for the Quest 3, as there's been a lot of quality control issues, primarily revolving around its own Meta Elite battery strap. Apparently it has been having a lot of trouble charging this thing. That forced Meta to pull them out of retail stores. Meanwhile, with the Quest 2, you don't have to worry about any of that. But the experience from going from the Quest 3 to the Quest 2 was honestly a bit challenging. But after the first week, I started to adapt and just become more used to it. You see, one of the main drawbacks about the Quest 2 is its lens that it uses. It's not using pancake lens, which makes reading in-game text a bit challenging at times and can make reading text also slightly blurry. Meanwhile, the Quest 3, these pancake lens allow you to read everything sharp, crisp, reading text is super visible, and there isn't any issues whatsoever. So that was really the only massive drawback. But when it comes down to the mirror effect, yes, it's slightly more noticeable on the Quest 2 compared to the Quest 3, but if you don't look for it, you really won't see it. It still outperforms even the last generation VR headsets that got released in 2023. Sony, I will still choose the Quest 2 over that headset as an example. The tech and everything else that is included with this headset blows those other ones out of the water. And then if you look at the secondhand market, you could easily find a Quest 2 for just $150 roughly. Yeah, it may seem kind of gross buying a secondhand used headset, but with the amount of money you're saving, you could afford to upgrade or replace the fascia with a much better one, a new one, to literally make your VR headset feel new all over again. But this has the hardware and the technology to utilize hand tracking, which is, in my opinion, still extremely advanced. The pass-through mode, again, although it's in black and white, it still works extremely well. And no, it doesn't have a depth sensor like the Quest 3, but to be real, most of the time, even with the Quest 3, that in-depth sensor to automatically scan the room for the Room Guardian setup usually get things wrong, and I have to manually adjust it anyways. So that depth sensor isn't really a key selling point for the Quest 3 over this, since I still find myself to manually adjust it. So this is perfectly fine just manually adjusting your Guardian. But notice I mentioned Guardian because this does have the Guardian feature that will help prevent you from bashing into a wall or identifying objects that may walk into your play space without you knocking them out. It's jam-packed with a lot of amazing hardware, especially when it comes down to its specs. This does support a 90 to 120 hertz refresh rate, which in today's standard still is very relevant. And of course, you can also play with the Oculus Link if you want to use this as a PC VR headset. But even playing this wirelessly, it's amazing. But fun fact, with this experiment, playing with this VR headset for the past 2 weeks, playing against my friends who are on the Quest 3, in a game of golf, as an example, around the 45 to 50 minute mark, their headset's already at 10%. Meanwhile, the Quest 2, I'm still rocking around 20 to 30% battery life, allowing this headset to go past an hour. Because that's one of the issues about the Quest 3 is its short battery life. The Quest 2 has the perfect amount of battery life you need under a single charge, which is why I don't have a battery pack strapped onto this VR headset like I do with my Quest 3. It's not fully recommended, but still it definitely does help out a lot. But don't get me wrong, the Quest 3 is still a very fantastic and extremely advanced headset, especially when it comes to its modern day text, the cameras, the color pass-through makes imaging super sharp and clear. Reading text also makes things sharp. But aside from the sharpness and visibility and quality, everything else, again, you can find it on the Quest 2. So depending on your situation, the best value headset is still the Quest 2. If you can wait a little bit longer to save up, I would recommend going for the Quest 3, but $500 was honestly a lot compared to $250, which is why I think the Quest 2 also makes an excellent gift to anybody who's just curious about VR but aren't too sure if they're really gonna enjoy it or not. The Quest 2 definitely makes this into the best gaming console you could literally gift somebody who already owns a Nintendo, a PlayStation, or even an Xbox. Even PC users will definitely appreciate a Quest 2 as well, since that will also allow them to experiment and play some amazing PC VR games, which is easily why I highly recommend the Quest 2 over the Quest 3 for beginners. But for people who are upgrading from the Quest 2 to the Quest 3, you're gonna love that upgrade. But again, it's expensive, which easily explains why the Quest 2 is winning the VR headset game. So let me know in the comment section if you too also agree. If not, feel free to comment down below and let others know why you think X is better than Y. Now, if you're curious to know what type of accessories I have on my Quest 3, including this decal, I have the decal store where I got this from in the video description down below. But in terms of all the other accessories I have for this thing, which are now cheaper, they're usually on sale now since this is an older headset. You can check out all those accessories right over there. All my favorite accessories I have for the Quest 2. They're still very relevant. I've seen other content creators still use them to this very day. And as you noticed, I still use that on my personal headset. So definitely check out that video where I cover my favorite accessories for the Quest 2. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.